It's story time. It's story time at Hidden Well Farms. So I had a question come to me from Lakeisha Snyder. She asked me a very poignant question as she is a young upcoming veterinary student. She asked me, what is the hardest thing about veterinary school? Now that is a whole different question than what was your hardest day in veterinary school. And that's a whole nother topic, okay? But the hardest thing about veterinary school, by far for me, was sitting in class for 8 hours a day under constant pressure to learn and the amount of work that was required. See, our freshman and our sophomore years at Auburn, and of course you have to realize that I graduated 25 years ago. They've changed a lot of things, but there are still, lectures. And to sit through 4 to 5 hours of lectures on different topics with a 10-hour break is fine for like 3 days. Months of sitting in class and going to lecture, and it's a lot, and you can't miss any of it. The amount of pressure, the expectations that is put upon a young veterinary student who they're training to be doctors is tremendous, and you just can't not pay attention. But it's hard. I mean, I think the hardest class by far in veterinary school was histopathology. See, it was from 1:10 until 2:15. It would be wintertime in Auburn, Alabama. No, they didn't get 10-15 inches of snow, but it would be, 30 to 50 degrees, and we would not see the sunshine hardly ever, because in the wintertime, we'd get to school before the sun came up, and we would leave after it went down. But during our lunch break, we'd all go out and eat together. We'd eat at the fraternity house, or we go over to the student cafe. We go out, and sometimes we just go home and eat lunch. Well, then you'd come back. So now you've eaten, and you're sitting in a dark room because they turn the lights off to show all of these black and white microscopic slides, and it's warm now. They keep the room somewhere around, 65 to 70 degrees, and you're sitting there with a full belly, and the professor is up there going through slides in the dark. Nobody can see you because it's pitch black and it's warm. And even the best of us, whether you sit in the very front row or in the very back row, in the middle, if you had somebody that was next to you trying to help you be awake, it wouldn't matter, man. Sometimes those days would just catch up with you, and you'd nod off, and you'd wake up 30 minutes later, and young people don't snore very much. I mean, old people snore, but back in these days, I didn't snore. Maybe I breathed a little hard or a little different, but that professor way up front, he couldn't hear me. She couldn't hear me, whoever was lecturing, because I sat right in the middle, and sometimes you just fall asleep. Now, thank goodness, as you go along your veterinary career, you learn these things. You learn, what, I've got to pay attention to this class. So you'll eat a smaller lunch, you'll drink caffeine, you'll do whatever it takes so that you can make it through those classes. I think looking back on my career, that probably sitting those first 2 years through endless, and it did seem like endless lecture after lecture after lecture, and taking notes. Man, sometimes my hand would just cramp taking notes in those classes. Was really, really hard for me. I've seen pictures of some of the new veterinary classes where they have the computers that sit around in these rooms, and the students have all of the notes and everything put up on tablets and up on laptops that they use now for notes and lectures, and I think that's all great. I'm 100% for that, but I was much more attentive if I could be up moving. I just needed to be up and at it, and I've always done better if I can be on the go, whether it's farming or practice or anything. I can't sit for 2 or 3 hours in a lecture without getting up and doing something. So that was probably the hardest thing about veterinary school by far. I can't say that I enjoyed my veterinary career as a student. It was super hard, but I'm very appreciative of my education and where it has brought me at this point in my life. And I'm glad that we hung in there and got it done. And you can too. If you're a young veterinary student, you just plow through it. It doesn't matter how rocky that field is out there. Just hitch them horses up and go to work, one row at a time. Just keep plowing, and before long you'll look back and the whole thing's plowed and you're done. So God bless you from Hidden Well Farms. Probably not the funniest story, but definitely wanted to share that experience with you. Y'all have a great day.